Picked up by Andre from
three-quarters, four, and he hit it! He had his eyes on the prize and let it fly!
What's going on, all you Tanimals? It's another edition of the Tanndemonium Sports Show here, streaming live exclusively on Twitch. And, of course, we will be available on wherever you listen to your podcasts and on YouTube next day. I'm here by myself right now. We got Courtney, Don't Call the Plumber, in the control room right now, but I'm running solo at the moment. I'm Jackson Law, a.k.a. Jefferson Legal, is just a few minutes behind, but it's all good. I can do this. I've done it before. So there's a hell of a lot of stuff going on in the sports world. Shout out to Giannis Shout out to Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks for making liars out of everyone here on the show, especially me and Trey last week, because we were still saying, actually, I jumped on the Bucks bandwagon last week. I'm not even going to lie. But, going into the Suns-Bucks series, I was on the Devin Booker train. I was on the CP3 train. I was even having fun teasing Courtney, saying, oh, you're going to have to apologize about your Jay Crowder take. Looks like Courtney and Giannis in the city of Milwaukee got the last laugh, at least in that regard. So, shout out to Giannis and to the Bucks. Oh, man. Giannis with a playoff career performance. I think it was, 50 points and 14 boards. The man went off. He went absolutely sick and twisted in that regard. And he really, really showed not just the basketball world, but the sports world, that he's the truth, and that it is time for him to be mentioned right next to the names like Kevin Durant and LeBron James. And when Jackson gets here, I especially want to have words with him and see what he thinks, what he expects to come about next year. Do the Bucks have the talent to three-peat? Or are they going to be able to add any pieces to their already, their talented roster already? What's going to happen next season, And I think that's something that a lot of us do in the sports world. Whenever we're reporting this or talking about this or whatever, we always want to know, well, what's happening next? Meanwhile, these guys just want to enjoy the title win and blah, blah, blah. But I'm sure they get to the same point, just maybe not as quickly, because Giannis is out there scoring free Chick-fil-A and God knows what else, because he's the champion. You know what, though? I wonder, does he have the NBA title trophy sitting in the front seat with him, shotgun, secured in with the seat belt and everything? Or is it in a car seat, sitting in the back seat? I really wonder what that's looking like. Giannis makes enough money. He can be wild and eccentric and no one's going to question it. At this point, I think that Giannis is to the point that he can do pretty much whatever he wants, and it's okay because he could just be considered the eccentric athlete. But I'm really, 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 really happy for the guy, because he's been through a lot, man. He's been through an awful lot with it, as far as, he's gotten criticisms about how he gets the job done, all the jokes about his free throw shooting, all of that. But, hey, he shut up a lot of haters this time around, and hey, I'm all about it. So, congratulations there to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Did it right. And to the entire Milwaukee Bucks organization and the fan base. I mean, 50 years it's been damn near 50. Actually, it's been about 50 years, maybe a little bit more than 50 years since the Bucks last won a title. You know, they haven't won since Kareem was there. It was him and Oscar Robertson. So, and I still remember the times growing up when the Bucks were a joke of a franchise. You know, when you thought about the joke franchises in the NBA, it was the Bucks, it was the Clippers, and to an extent, at least up until the early 90s, it was the Suns in a lot of ways. So, yeah, shout out to that organization. You know, we were pretty critical of them, even especially last year when they first made the, I believe it was the Chris Middleton trade. So, yeah, I'm on board with it. I think it's a really, really good thing. And I think it's great for basketball too, the NBA as a whole, because it also shows that the same teams aren't always going to be in it and they're not always going to win it. And I'm definitely on board with that 100%. And it also kind of shows that the American-born players here in the NBA, and I said this on Twitter, we said this last week, but I'm going to reiterate it, especially now when they're in Olympic competition. And they just got beat by France. It's time for y'all to quit giving the mean mug to the referee when you don't get the call you want. It's time for you to stop being these prima donnas playing like you're soft, okay? 20 years ago, Giannis would not have been anybody in the NBA. How many foreign-born players were stars in the league 25 years ago? Tony Kukoc had a chance to be the star of the Chicago Bulls, and he couldn't really get it done. I think some of the only real major stars in the NBA way back when, you had Avanis Sabonis, who didn't get to the NBA until he was in his 30s. So he was pretty much at that point at the tail end of his career. Luke Longley was never really a star. He was a role player for the Chicago Bulls. I'm trying to think who else. I'm trying to think of what other foreign-born players were like superstars or could have been superstars. There weren't many because the United States were the dominant team, the dominant country when it came to basketball. But now that's not the case. The rest of the world is caught up. You know, it's bad enough that America is behind when it comes to mathematics, science, and education overall, but we're also falling further and further behind when it comes to athletics as well, specifically the NBA and basketball as a whole. I seriously do not see any of these NBA so-called stars being able to dominate in the international game with the way they look for calls, or, you know, try to do everything ISO and all of that. I don't see it. You know, it's time for some things to start changing in the NBA game overall. And honestly, I really, really hope, well, when I say what I'm going to say, I don't want anyone to take it that I'm turning into these people that are trying to bash the United States teams and that I want them to fail. I don't want that. Matter of fact, it's just the opposite. I'm heartbroken that Simone Biles had to pull out of the Olympics. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It's heartbreaking to me that she had to pull out, but I get it. I mean, I understand your mental health is important, but I can't stand these people that are sitting in there and rooting for them to fail just because of their politics, because of their political stances, and because they're standing up against the systemic racism that goes on in this country. And honestly, if you're rooting against the American teams and the Olympians because they're standing up against systemic racism, you're not a patriot. I'm sorry, you're just not. And there's nothing you can tell me that's going to change my mind. You're just not. You're an asshole. And that's the bottom line. You can like it, you can don't like it. I don't really care. It is what it is. You can come at me all you want on social media, or you could just ignore me. It don't matter to me. I said what I said, and I'm not taking it back. It's kind of a jerk move. It really is. You don't want to sit there. You would rather see your country fail because you dislike the individuals that are there. And just because they stand up against things in the country that they don't agree with, that they're and they're fighting against, you'd rather just see the whole country just blow. Don't make sense to me. But I will say that if the U.S. men's basketball team doesn't even place, if they're not even in a medal game, if they don't even get to a bronze, I think that shows that there needs to be some changes to the NBA game here. We need to get back to the team-oriented play. We need to get back to the grit. We need to get back to the toughness. That's what we need to get back to. But hey, you guys let me know in the comments. We're streaming live here on Twitch. If you're checking us out on YouTube or on Spotify or however you get your podcasts, go to twitch.tv/Vendetta Sports Media. And if you're a Prime subscriber, you can subscribe to us for free. And we would greatly, greatly appreciate it if you were able to do so. So, with that being said, oh, there he is.
Here.
There he is.
Finally, I'm here.
Jefferson Legal has entered the room.
Dear God.
How was vacation, man?
Oh, it was great. It was great. Today hasn't been great, but vacation was great.
No, I'm definitely on board with you there about today. Today's had its challenges for sure. So the fact that you were down in Mississippi, I gotta dissect that for a second. Because there's a lot of vacation spots in this world. There's a lot of vacation spots in this country. I would never just be like, you know what? Where are you going to go vacation? I'm going to go to Palatial, Mississippi, where the beer is cold, the women are hot, and you won't get lynched.
It was Gulfport, Mississippi. They're a bit more on the progressive side than the rest of Mississippi that you have to go down through.
Oh, so let me guess. It's the one progressive spot that's in the smack dab in the middle of the state.
It's like it's on the beach, so it's like down towards the Gulf. It's on the Gulf, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Glad you have fun. How'd the little man enjoy? Did you throw him in the ocean?
Well, you see, that's the thing. Like Gulfport and Biloxi, Mississippi, for like a mile almost out, the water is like waist deep. Only gets like to waist deep. So, but like for the first little bit, it's like ankle deep, and then as the day goes on, the water recedes, and you see sandbars pop up. So it was perfect enough for him, which thankfully he loved the beach, but he was able to crawl like actually in the ocean and go a significant distance.
Wow.
And just splash around in the water.
You know, I've never been to the ocean. I don't even know what the ocean looks like. I've seen pictures, but I've never gone there in person.
It's like
body
a lake,
of water,
but bigger.
Oh, fair enough. That makes sense. Oh, wow. Courtney's in the private chat going off. What? Nope. Never gone to the beach. Well, I've gone to beaches. I've been to freshwater beaches. I've never seen the ocean. Never smelled ocean air, I don't think. Nope.
The Atlantic is just like right there next to you, man.
Not right there next to me. Maybe if I was in Philly. I got to go through the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but I'm landlocked, though. I'm in the smack dab middle of the country.
Yeah, that's true.
It's right there. Relatively speaking, for me, it's right there. I had to drive 8 hours to get there.
I'd have to drive more than that. I'd have to drive probably. I'd have to drive about 8.5 hours, maybe 8 to 10 hours to get to the.
Okay, then we're even then.
Yeah, if I were going to the Jersey Shore, because the Jersey Shore goes to the ocean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd probably have to drive anywhere between 4 and 8 hours. I know it takes me I know it takes me about 4.5 hours to go to Scranton, the paper capital of Pennsylvania.
Oh, of course.
And then I figure it'll probably be another 2 to 3 hours to get to the Jersey Shore from there, maybe 4. So yeah, we're about the same boat. Okay. So I was giving shout out and credit to Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. They made us into liars last week, Jefferson Legal.
Yeah, I still gotta order my shirt. I get paid at the end of the week. So Jared, if you see this, tell your son I'm gonna order that Giannis shirt. It's going to be in the mail, and I'll wear it next week or whenever it comes in, that next Tanndemonium, I'll wear it for it.
And you know what? I gotta give a shout out to Courtney Plummer. She stood by her Jay Crowder stance, and she was right. She was right.
To apologize to Trey.
She has nothing to apologize for. Matter of fact, I think Trey owes her an apology. Because we were clowning her a good bit, especially last week. We were kind of clowning her a bit, and she stood steadfast, man. She wasn't playing games, and she stuck with it. So shout out to you, Courtney. Stick him to your guns. Proud of you. And she goes, he does. So, yep. Trey, you owe Courtney an apology. Not a raise, just an apology. That's what's called a moral victory. Oh, man. So let me ask you this, Jackson. Because at least in the sports talk world, we're always going into the what ifs of the next season. Do you think the Bucks have enough men and do you think they have enough assets in place that they could repeat next year or at least have another deep playoff run? I mean, because you figure Giannis is locked up. Good.
Yeah, I think they can have another deep playoff run. I mean, Giannis is still young. The last time I was, on here when we were talking to Josh Taylor, we were talking about how this probably isn't even Giannis's final form. No, he can still get better. His game can still increase from here, which is very scary because he's already he's a NBA champion, finals MVP, and 2-time league MVP. And to think that he's not in final form, that is scary.
Every time you guys say final form, that always makes me think of Cell from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hinting at there.
Okay, fair enough. I like it. Continue. I like that.
I mean, they're going to have a deep run. Like, obviously, they were helped with injuries to the Nets. It is what it is. It happened.
That's sports.
On, and then they ended up beating a fully healthy Suns team because the Suns, you could argue, had the exact same experience in the Western Conference going into the finals.
Right.
So I think they did a great job. I think Budenholzer, I still don't think he made too many changes, but he made enough, which is better for him. But I mean, they can make a deep run. I don't think they're going to change much of anything. I don't even know if they really can. I don't think they have the assets to acquire more talent. So it's really just run it back and see if Giannis can continue to stay dominant and then a combination of either Drew Holiday or Chris Middleton needing to step up, which Chris Middleton did in their 4-game run where they won 4 straight. He did step up a couple times. So
do you think this Chris Middleton and the Chris Middleton trick? Because I remember you were pretty critical of that. Was it Chris Middleton or was it the Drew Holiday?
It was the Drew Holiday.
The Drew Holiday thing you were critical of. Do you feel better about it now?
No, what? Well, here's the thing. I'm mixed on it. Because did it pay off? Yeah, absolutely. They upgraded from Eric Bledsoe, and apparently that was all the difference in the world. You just needed to upgrade from Eric Bledsoe, and boom, you're a title. You're a championship team. But I still think they gave up too much. But they got a championship, so you can't argue against it anymore because they got a championship. Same thing with the Lakers and Anthony Davis. They gave up their entire future for Anthony Davis, but they got a championship. So what? I can still not like the trade, but I can't crap on it too much anymore or say that it was a failure because they won a championship.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And I definitely agree. I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the goal. You make all of these moves to get yourself one step closer to winning the championship. And when you reach that goal, when you reach that mountaintop, I mean, it's a success. And you're right. You don't have to like the way it looks, but it worked in the short term. What's it going to do further down the line is the question. But I mean, we'll have to see. I'm pretty excited to watch this game this coming year.
Yeah. The Bucks, Milwaukee went 50 years without a title. So, it may be another 50 years before they win a title, but guess what? They won a title in my lifetime and what is going to be a lot of fans' lifetime too. And when you're a small market team like Milwaukee, one championship it will carry you for a decade or two. It honestly will.
You're right.
I think as long as Giannis still plays, as long as Budenholzer still coaches, they will, like, everyone will be like, well, it was a down year, but this squad got us a championship. You know, it's 5 years ago, but guess what? How many other teams, small market teams, have a championship? Not many, if any, by 5 years from now. Obviously, no, you're rooting for the Grizzlies, but, you know, we'll see how that goes.
Right. And I will say this too: the loss of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can finally be, it's okay. It's okay now, because for 50 years,
the ghost can rest.
Yeah, exactly.
The spirit is at ease now.
But you know what? I give Kareem credit, man, because he came back. Like, he came back and was all for them and was on board with them, which I thought was really, really cool as well. So, hey, kudos to the Bucks. I did not anticipate leading the show kissing the ass of Giannis Antetokounmpo or the Milwaukee Bucks or the fan base, but that's the world we live in now. That became a thing.
They won. So
they won. They're the champions of the world.
It's history.
Now,
40 years from now, no one's going to think, and it's like, yeah, they won, but you know, it was after COVID. So many people were hurt. This and that. When they look at the stat sheets, when they look at history of the NBA championship, they're going to look at 2021. Oh, the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Finals MVP.
Exactly.
Okay, who's next year?
So, and now the point that I was making before you came on as well, with a foreign-born player, now the top guy in the NBA, because that's what Giannis is. He's a Finals MVP, two-time league MVP. He's the guy in the NBA right now. With a foreign-born player that is the guy in the league now, and with the problems that Team USA has been having with foreign competition, tell me if you agree with me on this, or tell me if I'm off base. It's time that things change in the NBA game. It's time to get back to sort of the grit. It's time to get back to the team play. It's time to stop looking and whining for calls and start playing like you've got a pair. Because losing to France, that wouldn't have happened 10 years ago. That wouldn't have happened 15 years ago. It damn sure didn't happen 20 years ago or 30 years ago. But now it's happening. The rest of the world has caught up, and they are surpassing. And even though I don't want to see the American team lose, because I'm not one of these fake patriots that are rooting for the Team USA to lose because of the players that are protesting, I kind of want to see it happen so that the NBA realizes it's time to change their culture. Am I right, or am I off base?
You're 100%. You knocked it out of the park. You Shohei Ohtani that thing out of here, man.
Nice.
You know, like 120 club head speed, whatever, bat speed. You know, I've been playing a lot of golf, so club head speed is on my mind.
Fair enough.
But I'm working on a piece right now, and the title of it is how European basketball players can save the NBA. And the way that they do that is, and again, talked about it the last time I was here, is the game is taught differently overseas in every other country in the world that has professional basketball at some degree than it is here in the United States. United States, it's street ball. It's high pick and roll with a stretch big or like a smaller, an undersized big, and then shooters on the wings that just stand there. Right. Like, there were times where someone like James Harden, who, regardless of what you think about James Harden, has changed the game as far as it comes to ISO ball in the NBA over the past decade. He was a spot up shooter sometimes because Kyrie or KD and someone else were running the high pick and roll. And that's all it is. It's just high pick and rolls. Sometimes there's some plays sometimes, but it's the teams that play more team-oriented basketball instead of this isolation, jacking up step backs that win. It's why when the best players go down on these teams that are focused and centric on that is why when team-based teams, they do great. It's why the Bucks and the Suns were in the finals this year, is because they play great team basketball. Chris Paul goes down, and he was the engine that moved that team. But guess what? They were still able to get through until he got healthy again, because Monty Williams is a fantastic coach and has them playing team basketball. The head coach for Nigeria, his name is escaping me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Team-oriented basketball, lesser NBA players. And when I say lesser, I just mean that they're
not
they don't get as many
superstars.
minutes. They're not superstars.
They're not the superstars, but they're the role players that keep the teams going.
I love Precious Achiuwa. He's a Memphis guy. Went to Memphis, University of Memphis. But he's not a superstar. He was a rookie this past season. He's not a superstar. He's not a world beater right now. Could he be? Maybe. I don't know.
It's possible.
It's possible, but the world has caught up. It's not that they are catching up. They have caught up.
And that's it.
And you see how, and the reason why you have superstars like Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, why they work on their teams is because that's how the NBA works. Right. It doesn't work that way on the international stage. And I love it because I like seeing, this is weird to say, but I like seeing Team USA continually disappoint for the sole reason that the NBA game could potentially be saved.
I can't wait to read that article. You guys can check that out on vendettasportsmedia.com, where you can get all of our content. But right now, we got to take a quick break. We're a couple of minutes over. This is a Tanndemonium Sports Show. I'm Bryan Tan. He's Jackson Law. We're live streaming here on Twitch. We'll be right back.
The following is brought to you in partnership by Symbol. Symbol is a new sports marketplace where you can trade shares of professional teams like stocks. You love sports. You interested in fantasy sports without the weekly annoyance of fantasy league upkeep? Then Symbol's the app for you. With Symbol, fantasy sports is going to a whole other level. How it works is simple. You buy Symbol shares for your favorite sim teams on the app. When your sim team wins, you get automatic cash deposits, and you don't lose any money when they lose. That's it. So if you follow trends across football, basketball, and baseball, and you think your team is a sleeper, simply invest in your favorite sim teams on Symbol and watch your virtual portfolio prove you right or wrong. And if you want to get in on the action right away, Vendetta Sports Media's got you covered. Go to symbol.app/Vendetta and use our exclusive promo code Vendetta, and you'll get a $10 bonus when making your first deposit. Symbol, taking fantasy sports to a whole other level.
All right, we're back here on the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on the Vendetta Sports Media Twitch channel. We are live, Jackson Law, and
live
and in living color, so we can do what we want to do in living color. So with that being said, it's among my favorite times of year, my friend. NFL training camp. And
it's here.
Yeah.
Just a few more Sundays, man. Just got to make it through a few more.
Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait for the Hall of Fame game. That's going to be my first sports game that I've watched since the Super Bowl. And that's when I'm going to get started. The Hall of Fame game is when I'm going to get started. I'm going to watch as many preseason games so we can talk about these things and blah, blah, blah as humanly possible. And, but there's a very, very ugly specter, though, Jackson, over training camp. The NFL says that 83.6% of players have gotten the COVID-19 vaccine, and only 10 teams have 90% or more. Now, Cole Beasley recently came out and fussed about not wanting to get the vaccine. DeAndre Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins
threatened to retire if he has to get the vaccine. And there's just been a lot of whining. And I'm going to call it whining. Actually, if I may, there's been a lot of baby back belly aching going on over this. Here's the thing, people. You cannot be all for the NFL being a private company when it suits you. i.e., when you want to sit there and justify Colin Kaepernick not having a job, when you want to justify voices being silenced from protest, you don't get to sit there and say, well, it's a private organization and it's a private business and they can do whatever they want. But then whine about rights when they say you have to get the COVID vaccine. You don't get to have it both ways, folks. You just don't. Either they are a private company that can dictate to their employees, i.e., players, coaches, and staff, what they want as a company, or they can't. Jackson, do people understand the hypocrisy? Like, do they understand how hypocritical they sound?
No, the world is surrounded in it and is just, there's a sphere of hypocrisy that's always flown, and it's always both sides because this whole pandemic's been politicized. Is the thing, and it's been politicized by both sides. But avoiding that type of conversation, sticking with sports,
right?
I'm gonna say the same thing that I've always said about everything. The NFL is a private business, and they can do whatever they want. Does that mean you have to agree with it? No, you don't have to. But at the same time, they're a private business, and as they have a right to say these are the standards that we want because we are a business, and if there is a COVID outbreak amongst players, then they cannot play. If they cannot play, then they cannot make us money, and we lose a ton of money. We're already coming off a year where we lost a lot of money because there was no fans in the stands. TV ratings look great, but it's because there's no fans in the stands. They lost millions, maybe even billions of revenue. So it's just, but then at the same time, players also, if they don't want to get the vaccine, then they either can abide by the more strict rules that the NFL has in place, or they can walk away. They can forfeit their salary this year, and that's entirely up to them, and they're right too. I'll say it's stupid to do that because
all you have to do is get a shot.
I mean, that's all you have to do is just get a shot. I got the shot.
I got the shot.
I felt sick, yes, but
you always are going to feel sick. Whenever you get a vaccine, you're going to feel sick for a little bit because your body is going to react to create the antibodies that are needed to protect you from what you're being vaccinated against. And all these people are saying, oh, there's not enough data, and it usually takes years for all that. No, you fools. It's the money that comes with it, as well as there were record numbers of people coming out to be case studies, record numbers. Not to mention the fact that money was flying. Dude, Moderna and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, they were given blank checks and said, fill in the amount you need for this. That's what happens when there's a pandemic. That's what happens. And you cannot say that, oh, well, it takes forever to come up with a vaccine like that. No. Well, see, the thing is, we haven't had a pandemic of this magnitude in over 100 years that would require such things. And our medical technology has advanced so much that guess what? It happened.
And again, this is speculation. I would figure like the building blocks are already there because it's similar to other.
It's similar to other things.
Similar to stuff that's in the coronavirus family. And, the reason why people were calling it like, flu 2.0 or whatever was because
it looks like the flu.
It looks and shares similar properties to the flu. And it's because the flu is a part of the coronavirus family. So the building blocks were there. They just needed to connect the rest of the dots.
Right.
To make the vaccine. Again, I got my vaccine. I got it because I wanted to travel. I wanted to go to sporting events.
And you have a kid at home. You don't want to come home with that shit and give it to your kid.
Yeah, I don't know there's not been too many studies on kids. So the information's still a little iffy on that, but regardless, I got it. Me and my wife, we talked about it and we were like, we're going to get it. We'll be fine. We were both fine. We were then. We are now. It is what it is.
Yep. And the thing is, here's an app that I have on my phone. I don't know. It's called Dreamlab. You plug in your phone. You go to sleep on the Wi-Fi. You start this, and these labs basically use they use your latent processing power and stuff in your phone to help with their research, basically. I wonder how many people, and I know a lot of people use it. And I'm sure that probably helps as well. But the bottom line is that there are going to, like, as you said, the unvaccinated players have to stick to the strict guidelines of the league. And there are severe penalties that are going to come from unvaccinated players and staff. We just saw a coach get fired in Minnesota. Good for him. And then there are going to be severe financial penalties and potential forfeits of games. And I say good because, honestly, last year, there's no way that the Steelers should have had to have such a small turnaround when it came to playing the Ravens because of their COVID outbreak. No way in hell. There's no way in hell that the Broncos should have had to play with like a not quarterback.
Yeah.
Like no way in hell. So the bottom line is that folks were complaining about how the NFL needs to adapt to the whole thing as far as COVID. Well, that's what they're doing. Quit whining. Seems like everyone in this, all the people in this country and in this world want to do is just whine and whine and whine about nothing.
Yeah.
Your rights.
That's all Twitter. That's all Twitter is. That's
all social media is. Like, that's why I really try to stay off of social media sometimes, because it gets so exhausting, the negativity. Amen. Anyway, switching gears into college football before we have to take our next break. Texas and Oklahoma have formally applied for SEC membership in 4 years, starting in 2025. So they've told the Big 12 a day after notifying the Big 12 that they don't intend to renew their grants of media rights beyond their current contract, which ends in 2025. They've applied to go to the SEC. Now, this isn't a done deal, Jackson Law. You know this better than I do because you're the college football guy. You're the reason why I'm here, because of your college football love. This requires approval from 11 of the 14 SEC schools. Now, this is a quote from Oklahoma State President, was it Casey Shrum? Quote, earlier today, OU delivered a document to the Big 12 Conference office, which indicated they will not sign the grant of rights agreement in 2024-2025. This action was strategic, deliberate, and is the result of months of planning with the SEC. We believe these conversations, which developed over a long period of time, are in clear breach of the bylaws of the Big 12 Conference and broke a bond of trust between our universities that have existed for decades. Now, it says in the Big 12 bylaws that 18 months notice for a school to withdraw from the league needs to be done. Jackson, how much does this shake up the SEC? Does it hurt the SEC? Does it help the SEC? Can they even call it the SEC anymore if these two teams come in? Because they are not Southeastern schools.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically Missouri isn't either. It's like Central.
It's a Midwest school. It's a Midwest.
Yeah, it's a Midwest. School. Yeah, it's technically South, but Midwest. It's in the middle there. But I mean, I figured that it would make a lot of sense from the SEC money wise. You're bringing in two massive markets. Oklahoma has had success in getting guys into the NFL. Some big names that have been drawn to there, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, just two names. And then like Texas is one of those schools that they suck, but they always have a huge fan base with the money that's following them too. Like everybody knows about Longhorn Network. Longhorn Network has been around forever. And if a school has its own television station dedicated to solely covering sports, specifically football, then you know that there's a lot of money involved.
They got money.
Money is going to be key. I could see where teams like Texas A&M may not be happy about it, because then they don't hold like the recruiting tool. It's like you could come to the most football state in the country and play in the SEC at Texas A&M. But now if Texas is going to be involved, it's like you can come to the biggest program in Texas, the most historic program in Texas, in the greatest football state in the union, and we're also in the SEC. So now the Aggies don't really have their big advantage, I feel like. And then I did see, like, if this does happen, and it looks like it's going to, because I mean, it's going to be more money for ESPN. So obviously ESPN is going to be pulling strings and really pushing it. Then what's going to happen is they're really going to have to break up the SEC into more subdivisions, more than just like East and West. You're going to have like a North, South, East, West SEC, possibly, of like, and I saw it, it's like there's enough for it to be like 4 teams like per division that you play, and then you play like 2 other teams of each other conference for the year, and then that's a full SEC schedule. It's an insane amount of teams that are joining the SEC, but then at the same time, because they're really expanding outside of the Southeast, the SEC has made it clear they don't care if you're from the Southeast or not. I mean, look, like Clemson could technically be in the Southeast. So what's stopping Clemson from leaving their conference and then coming into the SEC? What's stopping Michigan, Ohio State, USC, Cal? What's stopping them from joining if this is where the money's at? And then you know what's going to happen? They're all going to start joining, and it's going to be like, you know what? We should really split up into our own individual conferences, and they're just going to split back up. We're going to be back at square one probably. But this seems to be the trend, because the SEC is the most dominant of the Power 5 conferences. It's where you get the most NFL prospects. It's where you get some of the best football. And if you're a top recruit and you want to compete against top competition, you go to the SEC, because you're gonna be your best player there, and you're also gonna get big brand recognition. Even if you go to like a Kentucky or Vanderbilt and you play football, guess what? The SEC channel shows all SEC football games all year round, and people pay attention to the SEC.
That's true. All right, let's shift back to the NFL now. Aaron Rodgers. It looks like the drama is over in Green Bay. So the state of Wisconsin can celebrate, because not only do they have Giannis Antetokounmpo, but they also have arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time coming back to the team in Aaron Rodgers. He's reported to training camp, and they are in the final stages of reworking a deal that is going to bring him back for the 2021 season. Now, he had no guaranteed money past this year, and he carried a $37.2 million cap hit. So it looks like now he's looking to make sure in this contract that he has the significant say that he wants. And he wants to have a voice in what goes on with this team in 2022 and 2023. So, yeah, Jackson, is this playing out the way you thought it would? Because I thought he was going to be gone.
Well, I think what this contract really does, it opens to the point where he can control his own future after this season. Mm-hmm. Basically, he can walk if he wants. He can stay if he wants. So I think that's what the biggest thing was. That's what this whole thing was really about. And once he, I guess, got the promise that he was going to get his contract restructured, get his money, and then go out and he's going to play some angry football this season. Who knows? Maybe he wins another MVP. But this is just all about him. He wants to control his own destiny. He sees other players in the league, specifically someone like Tom Brady, that has gotten to do it. And we've already heard rumblings that another quarterback, Russell Wilson, is very jealous of the freedoms that someone like Tom Brady has. And now all these other quarterbacks, they want the same thing. So I don't blame them. And for Green Bay's sake, they better put it together and win a Super Bowl this year, because if Aaron Rodgers leaves, then Devontae Adams is also leaving too. And he's arguably, if not the best, 100% top 3 wide receivers in the league.
And he's in the 99 club in Madden 2022.
He is in the 99 club, and I could be wrong on this, but I think he turned down an extension too, because he wants to see what Rodgers is going. Yeah, because if Rodgers leaves, then yeah, I mean, I don't blame him. I don't want to catch passes. I don't want to go from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love.
Oh man, but what if Jordan Love turns out to be like a straight up baller?
I mean, that's an if. You're going from a sure thing to an if.
That's true. All right. Let me see. We're right about at the break. Let's take another break, and we're going to come back with our final segment. We're going to talk a little bit about Simone Biles and her withdrawing from the Olympics, citing the pressure of the whole thing. Luka Doncic makes history with Slovenia's first Olympic win. And that's in the Pelicans and your Grizzlies are finalizing a trade before the draft, Jackson. Let's see. We'll be right back on the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Sports Media. We are streaming live here on twitch.tv/Vendetta Sports Media. Make sure you follow us, subscribe to us if you are a Prime subscriber. We really, really appreciate it. But you especially want to subscribe and follow us so you know when we are going live. At some point, we're going to be live streaming me playing games. It's going to be pretty cool because I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. You want to watch me rage quit MLB The Show? It happens a lot. But we'll be back here on the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Sports Media. We'll be back.
The following broadcast is brought to you in association by XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee Company is the fresh brewed coffee made for gamers by gamers. Get amazing flavors like Choco Loco in 8, 12, or 16-ounce bags. Or level up and get Illusion, Isolation, Nightmare, or the Majestic Throne blends in light, medium, or dark roast in whole bean, coarse French press, drip, or fine espresso in 12-ounce, 16-ounce, or 2-pound bags. Wow! Shipping worldwide. If you're in the U.S., go to usa.xpcoffee.co. If you're in Europe or in the U.K., go to www.xpcoffee.co. XP Coffee Company, for gamers, by gamers.
I love that ad. I do. All right, we're back here on the Tanndemonium Sports Show. And Simone Biles, who is the superhero of women's gymnastics, her mental health concerns have prompted her to pull out of the U.S. team's showdown with Russia today. And she basically acknowledged that the pressure has just been getting to her. And they drew in. They got the silver medal. Congratulations to them. That's nothing to be ashamed of, getting a silver medal in the Olympics. And I applaud her for taking the time, for knowing that she could do that. And a quote from her Instagram, it says, "It wasn't an easy day or my best, but I got through it. I truly do feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders at times. I know I brush it off and make it seem like pressure doesn't affect me, but damn, sometimes it's hard. The Olympics is no joke." She's claimed 5 of the 6 gold medals that were on offer in Stuttgart, Germany. She's had 25 medals to her career total. She ain't even 25 years old yet. So, Jackson, what do you think about Simone Biles pulling out for her own mental health?
I mean, it's good, obviously, that she's taking care of herself. You know, take care of your chicken. You know, you always gotta, look after yourself, especially if your mind's not in the right place.
Yeah, if your chicken is being choked, you should settle down.
Exactly. I mean, if she performs, then the USA women's gymnastics, they 100% win gold. I mean, it's like her her in any individual or team event winning gold, it was the same way like it was when Michael Phelps was swimming, and whether if it was just him or if it was in a relay, they were winning gold. That's just how it was. That was a fact.
Water is
that
wet.
Was a that was
Water
a
is wet.
Scientific fact.
Water is wet. Rain falls. Lightning strikes.
It's
Michael
like
Phelps and Simone Biles give you gold medals.
It's like Newton's 8th law. Okay, like it's just that's what it is. And you obviously, me, obviously I'm rooting for the United States teams, all United States teams, although even though I did crap on the men's basketball team, but that's for different reasons. That's for selfish reasons. That's because I want the NBA to be a better product than what it is. I'm obviously
Jackson-Law.
I am, but yeah. And I obviously I'm like, USA, we're gonna win all the gold. We're the best country ever in the history of ever. Well, not ever. You know what I mean? But it's I on one hand, like, I feel bad for everyone else, but on the other hand, they won silver. And when I say I feel bad for everyone else, I don't mean it to say that like Simone Biles let them down in any way. That's not what I'm insinuating. It's unfortunate that she feels the way she does, but it's understandable that she feels the way she does. And I see a lot of people on social media, it's like, can you imagine if LeBron in Game 7 just gave up? Can you imagine if Tom Brady just didn't come out in the second half of a game of the Super Bowl? Something like that. And like, I get it. This is what she does. She's supposed to perform, but if her mindset isn't right, then she's not going to perform, and she's going to potentially hurt herself or embarrass herself.
Well, those are also unfair comparisons because number one, Simone Biles is not a professional by all intents and purposes. When it comes to the Olympic rules, she is an amateur. LeBron James, Tom Brady, they are professional athletes.
I also think you're like comparing, like, I don't think you can compare basketball and football
to gymnastics. Because you can die getting hit on a football field, but if you don't land properly, your leg coming out your skin is only one of the bad things. She could fall wrong and shatter her freaking spine. She could shatter her neck. She could shatter her skull.
Especially, you see all those twists that she's doing up there. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
No human should naturally move the way that she does out there. She's incredible. And I think if anything, she's gotten to her breaking point. And if we want, the USA to continue to be dominant and stuff, would we rather settle that our girls take home silver and Simone Biles takes a mental break, or do we push her to her limit and we ruin a beautiful young athlete? And
then she just says, I'm done.
She just says, I'm done. And then everyone, us as fans that root for her, are stripped of what could be one of the greatest Olympic careers of all time.
Well, not only that, Jackson, but, and I'm going to say this again. Well, I'm going to say this now. I truly feel that social media is probably one of the worst things that could have happened to human society, because it gives all of these people a voice and it gives them some form of false credibility where they can all just come together and dump on a person because they feel entitled to do so. And the bottom line is, guess what, folks? These athletes, they're human beings. Yes, they perform for entertainment and they get paid for entertainment, but they're also human beings. And they have the right to tell you no. They have a right to keep their own health in mind. You don't have to like it. Matter of fact,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Me and them, we don't have to care. And she was a victim of Larry Nassar.
I totally forgot about that.
I forgot about that too. So how dare people try to give her a hard time? some of these folks really need to get over themselves. You need to get over yourselves. You need to quit thinking that you're entitled to something, because you're not. The only thing you're entitled to is death and taxes and a slap in the face when you act like an asshole. Period. All right, let's move through some of these real quick. Luka Doncic dropped 48 points, tied for the second most points in Olympic basketball history. Slovenia gets its first ever win in Olympic competition. Congratulations to Luka.
Luka's good, man.
He's just great.
Luka's good. Like and again, it's more, I like seeing this Luka more than I do the NBA Luka, because the NBA Luka falls into the trap that the NBA has, where it's foul hunting, whining, and complaining. He's gotten on the FIBA circuit now for the Olympics, and he's continuing to do things he's always done, which has been a playmaker and just absolutely ball. But he's doing it team-oriented now.
Right.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful basketball.
In gaming news, 1047 Games has extended the Splitgate beta until mid to late August. Now, Jackson, you've been doing beta game. You've been playing this.
Yes, I love it.
Now, what is this on PC? Is it on Xbox? Where is this at?
It's on PC, Xbox, and PS4. It's been on PC, I think, since 2019. But what caused it to have like this explosion was that they were coming to console. They were coming to like current gen and next gen, I think, of Xbox and PlayStation. And their servers could hold, I think, 65,000 people, concurrent players. That's what it had. They had over 700,000 downloads in like 3 days of people, and people were trying to get on. And it just like they once or twice now, actually today at some point, I haven't been able to pay attention much today, but at some point today they were supposed to bring the servers back online, because today was supposed to be the official launch.
Right.
But because there's been so many new players, here's a positive thing though, is the entire new player base has generated $10 million for a development team of 4 people. That's how many people are actually doing the work on this game. There's 4 developers working on this, and I think there's some more behind the scenes people, and they just hired someone too, I know, to kind of help more on back engineering stuff. But it's really 4 people that are doing the developing for this, and I'm happy for them because I absolutely love this game. It's Halo mixed with Portal. It's literally Halo game modes, Halo feel for the gameplay, Halo weapons pretty much, and you have a portal gun on your wrist, and you can shoot portals on certain places on the map, and you can, jump through them, you can shoot through the portals. It's so much fun. I had an absolute blast the first time I played it, and I'm so ready to play it more and stream it more.
Fair enough. That's pretty cool. I mean, I would say that maybe I'll play it, but I probably won't, because I don't really have time like that, really.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
It gets sweaty.
I'm getting back into my routine, and I've got papers that I got to write. Got to get this degree, unpacking. Getting the office set up. I'll actually show you what I've been doing in my office today over the last a week or so. It's kind of cool. All right, so the Pelicans and your Grizzlies are finalizing a trade before the draft. So the Grizzlies and the Pelicans have agreed to a deal that would send Jonas
Valanciunas, yeah,
and the 2021 NBA draft picks to the Pelicans for Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe, and draft picks. So you're not a fan of this trade.
Let me get this out of the way. There's the emotional Jefferson legal. Well, here, there's Jackson, who is emotional, and there's Jefferson legal, who's logical. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the Drake line that comes to mind for the emotional side is, I'm upset because I loved Valanciunas, man. I absolutely loved him. He's amazing. I've said this before on the podcast. I've met his mom. She was cool. Just an absolute workhorse of a player, was fully bought into what the Grizzlies were doing, and was a real leader to the young core, to Ja and to to Jaren and everyone else. So like it's legitimately upsetting because I loved him and he's a genuinely nice guy and he plays his heart out night in and night out. And it's hard to find grinders like that in the modern NBA. And but and that's what it is. And to see him go to New Orleans too. Memphis has always kind of had like this beef with New Orleans, so it's just like, dude, come on. And it hasn't helped since they got Zion and we got John Morant. They got the number 1 overall pick and we got the number 2 overall pick. You know, they're already crowning Zion as the GOAT, and he's just now played a full season. Anyway, but for the trade itself, I'm trying to look at it in a positive way. And here's why. One, Steven Adams, though more expensive, can probably do a bit the same job that Valanciunas was doing, because the reason why he didn't work in New Orleans and the reason why Eric Bledsoe, who's probably not sticking around, there's already like that came out instantly after the trade was announced. That Eric Bledsoe is not going to be sticking around. The reason why they didn't work out is because there was no spacing. You can't have Steven Adams, who doesn't shoot threes, although he's been working on his 3-point shot in the offseason and said he is committed to working on his threes and becoming a 3-point shooter. Did we lose Brian? Oh, there you
go. No, I'm here. I'm here.
You there, Brian?
Yeah, I'm here. I should be here. Why am I not there? Am I here?
Okay.
I should be here.
Yeah, you're cutting in and out. You're cutting in and out. You're back.
Gotcha. Okay.
Anyway, I will continue now. Yeah, he was cutting in and out for me. I don't know if it was just me, maybe, or anyway. Let's get on.
Maybe it's your phone. Maybe it's your phone blowing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe your phone is blowing up so hard it's messing up your computer.
Absolutely, probably. I got so many things wrong over here. It's insane. And and there's so many things going on right now. Anyway, just so Adams will do pretty much what Valanciunas did. Bledsoe's not sticking around. And the Grizzlies move to the number 10 overall. They jump up 7 spots. Do they take on some bad contracts? Yes, but they're movable in the future, or at least by the deadline, potentially. You know, and like I said, they get the number 10 overall pick, and there's a number of things that they could do with the 10 overall pick. I think there's going to be great players that are going to be available there. There's honestly, there's like 6 players that are in the top 10 that I'm like, yes, that's who I would love him in a Grizzlies uniform. And guess what? 1 or 2 of them are probably going to be available at 10. And like, there's a ranking of who I want, but if someone even on like the 5th spot of who I like ends up there, then I'm like, fantastic, great. I think he'll fit perfectly. Now, but there's also rumors that the Grizzlies aren't done trading yet, that they want to move up even further or use that 10th overall pick that they just acquired and trade it away in a package for a better player. I don't know who that is. The Thunder apparently are saying that they're willing to trade Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. A, I don't know why they would do that, but B, if they're willing to do that, if I'm Zach Kleeman, I'm calling up the phone and I'm offering them the 10th pick, a couple other picks, and a couple other young players that are around here, and I'm taking Shai, dude. So, I mean, it's just, I just wasn't expecting it. It caught me off guard. And again, I'm still not over losing Valanciunas. It's dangerous to get emotionally attached to players.
Yep, because there's no loyalty it's a business. There's no loyalty.
It is a business. There is no loyalty. And best of luck, Valanciunas. I love you.
Yeah.
And it also is really funny because there's a lot of Grizzly Adams jokes now with Steven Adams on the Grizzlies. So that has been making it up over the past 24 hours.
Fair enough. I want to give a shout out to Alex Cervantes that is seeing things my way. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest player in basketball history. There's no way you can argue with me on that because he is. At 7'2", long ass arms, amazing court vision, and the most unguardable shot ever, the skyhook. Yeah, he's the greatest player in NBA history. I don't care. LeBron, no. Jordan, no. If the name is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they're not the greatest ever to play the game. Enough said. Now, Karl Heiser did have a take, and I kind of want to end the show on this one. Karl Heiser says that Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, is not a top 10 player of all time. And he says, hear me out. When I first saw this posted, I said, you already lost me. I'm not even going to, I was like, you know what? I'm done. Anything you say after that doesn't work. Doesn't work for Carl Carlson, and it doesn't work for me. Now, real quick, because I don't want to get deep into debate because we are so out of time.
Yeah.
But here is my top 10. And Jackson, I want you to give me yours when I'm done. All right. In no real order. Wilt Chamberlain. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And remember, I said no real order.
Mm-hmm.
Wilt, Kareem, what the hell is his name? Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. Even though I don't like him at all, Karl Malone, Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, and then rounding it out, I will actually throw in there Isaiah Thomas.
Okay.
That's my top 10. Shaq, Patrick Ewing, and Akeem Olajuwon just miss out of there. Just barely.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say just barely, I would even say that it would be a 4-way tie for number 10.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So mine, real quick, no particular order. Jordan, LeBron, Larry, Magic, Wilt, Kareem, Russell, Tim. I would put. And definitely. Okay, so I got 2 more spots left. I would put Kobe and Shaq in there too, and Shaq would probably be 10, and Kobe would be 9 or 8. I'd really have to think about it harder. But if Kobe's top 10 for me, but he's like ladder top 10,
Yeah, I wouldn't put him in top 5.
No, he's like he'd probably fall in that 7 to 10 range.
He's in that 6 to 10 range.
Yeah. And again, the finite of it, I'd really have to dig deeper into it.
Right. But the thing is, I can kind of understand where he wants to go with it, but at the same token, if Kobe's not in the top 10, hey, it's all based on opinion. It's all subjective. It's just
and
the freaking Mamba, man.
Half of these players we never even saw play before.
Right. And I love, Courtney saying that she's surprised that Kobe's that low. The only reason why he's really that low is because, if I had to put him in a rank, like I said, of the highest, I'd probably make him as either 6. Because if I had to do a starting 5 based on the greatest to ever play, it's going to be Kareem at my center, Karl Malone at power forward, Larry Bird at small forward, Jordan at shooting guard, and Magic at point. Now, granted, there's a huge argument that could be made to bring Oscar Robertson in there. But Oscar Robertson doesn't have the length of Magic. Magic is a matchup nightmare. That's why Kobe doesn't make my top 5. Because I'm not putting him over Bird, I'm not putting him over Magic, and I am not putting him over Jordan. I don't see Kobe being able to play the power forward or the center position. That's why Kobe's that low.
No, I agree.
Now, Kobe would be my 6th man for sure. But yeah, that's the way. That's kind of the way I see it.
And again, I'd have to think about it more.
Right. I actually had time to think about this when I saw him post it on Twitter. And like I said, I kind of got a little bit bent out of shape about it. But you know what though? Karl has his reasons, and I give him credit. And the thing is, at the end of the day, that's the beautiful part of being in a sports media company, is that we're always going to have different takes on these things. That's what makes. Yeah. If we all thought the same way, this would be the most boring company on the planet. We would be like the 4-lettered monster. All right. With that being said, make sure that you follow us on social media. You can find us on TikTok, on Twitter, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We're all over it. Vendetta Sports Media, or media_Vendetta if you're on Twitter and you're nasty. Follow the Tanndemonium Sports Show on Tanndemonium VSM on Twitter. You can follow Jackson Law, JLaw1995 on the Twitter, on the tweet machine, or me, Brian Tan Author, on the tweet machine. And you can listen to any and all of our podcasts in their entirety. You can either check us out live on Twitch, or you can listen to the podcast in the audio version day after they air on Spotify or wherever the hell you get podcasts that Spotify is affiliated with. And you can check out our clips of our shows on our YouTube channel. And like I said, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about us, because we're going strong. And hey, we do have a Patreon account as well. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media. Show us some love there. We have different tiers of membership. Every little bit helps. Thank you to our sponsors, but specifically Monkey Knife Fight, Symbol, XP Coffee Company. You guys are awesome. In the case of Symbol and Monkey Knife Fight, if you use our promo code Vendetta, Monkey Knife Fight, for your first deposit will match you dollar for dollar up to $100. And for your first deposit on Symbol, you will get an additional $10 credit. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. For Courtney Plummer, for Jackson Law, I'm Brian Tan. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking the NBA draft. You know what? Why don't we see if we can get either young Andrew or little Miss Emma? Let's talk some NHL draft, because with the expansion draft and with the draft itself, there's a lot going on in the NHL world. And Jackson, I think we're only about a week and a half away from the Hall of Fame game. Steelers, Cowboys.
It's close. It's close. Gotta get your boy Josh Taylor in here, man. Got to talk training camp, preseason.
We absolutely do, man. We're gonna be talking to Josh Taylor on. Let me take a look at the.
It's like what, first week in August, I think.
I believe it's gonna be the first. August? It's either August 3rd or August 10th. One of those two shows. I'm Courtney. If you can double check that, and we'll double check Josh's availability. We will definitely be talking not just Steelers training camp, but NFL training camp.
That's probably going to be NFL exclusive show, because it is.
That's going to be. That is going to be NFL exclusive.
We have made the pilgrimage, and we are here to worship at the feet of the football gods.
Absolutely. And matter of fact, this is going to be amazing. I cannot wait for this NFL season. This is going to be amazing. I'm trying to find out right about now when the Hall of Fame game is. I'm looking at it now. I'm on the NFL website. Thursday, August 5th, 8 p.m. That's next week, Jackson Law.
Identity alert.
Next week. Next Thursday. We are 9 days away. And are you ready for some football? I am. So, he's Jackson Law. She's Courtney Plummer. I'm Brian Tan. We'll talk to you guys next week. We're talking the NFL. See ya.